a country drowning in blood and billions. This is Sinaloa, Mexico's most infamous war zone. For decades, Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán ruled it with fear, money, and control. He built the world's biggest cartel and became a myth long before he was a man. But when El Chapo was captured and extradited to the United States in 2017, his empire didn't crumble. It evolved. From that vacuum rose a new face, his eldest son, Iván Archivaldo Guzmán Salazar. People call him El Chapito or Little Chapo. But there's nothing little about the empire he commands today. Who is this man who turned his father's shadow into a global business of blood, luxury, and legend? And how did the son of a drug lord become the invisible billionaire behind one of the most dangerous syndicates in the world? Born into power. Iván Archivaldo was born into power, wealth, and danger. While most kids his age played soccer or rode bikes, Iván grew up surrounded by armed guards, private jets, and whispered conversations about shipments, routes, and bribes. His childhood was a masterclass in control. His father, El Chapo, was already the most feared man in Mexico, and from an early age, Iván was groomed to inherit more than fortune. He was raised to inherit a legacy. He learned how to buy loyalty, how to read silence, and how to survive betrayal. Along with his brothers Joaquín Jr., Ovidio, and Alfredo, he was part of what would later be known as Los Chapitos, the Little Chapos. The name might sound playful, but their world was anything but. They were trained by killers, strategists, and lieutenants who treated violence like business. By his late teens, Iván was already managing small operations and earning a reputation for being disciplined and ruthless. He wasn't a spoiled heir. He was a student of the game. Baptized by fire. Every future king has a moment that tests whether he deserves the crown. For Iván, that came in 2016. He and his brother Alfredo were celebrating his birthday at a high-end restaurant in Puerto Vallarta when armed men suddenly stormed in. They were soldiers from the rival Jalisco New Generation Cartel, sent by their leader, El Mencho. The brothers were kidnapped in front of everyone. Most people thought it was the end. The Guzman dynasty finished overnight, but El Chapo, sitting in a federal prison, still had power that reached across walls and borders. According to reports, he sent a brutal message. If his sons weren't released, El Mencho's own son would die. 4 days later, the Chapitos were freed without a single scratch. That moment changed everything. It wasn't just a rescue, it was a statement to every rival, every ally, and every government official watching. The Guzman bloodline could not be touched. For Iván, that event was more than survival. It was transformation. He stopped being the son of El Chapo and became a symbol of the family's endurance. In the criminal world, survival is proof of power, and Iván had just passed his first test. The heir takes control. When El Chapo was sentenced to life in the United States, most expected his empire to fall apart. But instead, it adapted. Los Chapitos took control, and Iván quickly emerged as the strategist among them. He reorganized operations, shifted alliances, and brought in a new level of discipline. While his brothers handled logistics and enforcement, Iván focused on expanding business and strengthening influence. Under his leadership, the cartel changed direction. Cocaine and methamphetamine were no longer the future. The real profit was in synthetic drugs, especially fentanyl. Small clandestine labs appeared in the hills of Sinaloa, producing counterfeit pills that looked harmless but were deadly. Chemicals came from China and India. The drugs were made in Mexico, shipped to the United States, and distributed everywhere. Each batch generated millions of dollars. Each pill carried death. The U.S. called it the worst drug crisis in history, and Iván Archivaldo Guzmán became one of the men behind it. But for him, it was never about chaos. It was about control. He understood that whoever owned the supply didn't just make money. They owned demand. They owned desperation. They owned the system, the business of blood and billions. The Sinaloa Cartel is often described as a criminal group, but that doesn't come close. It functions like a global corporation. Iván and his brothers oversee an empire that earns an estimated $3 to $39 billion each year. That's enough to buy small countries or outbid major corporations. Under Iván's direction, the cartel diversified its income. Drugs are still the main source, but they also profit from extortion, illegal mining, kidnapping, and human trafficking. Every dollar moves through shell companies, fake real estate firms, and offshore accounts. His personal wealth is impossible to calculate, but estimates put it between $7 and $90 billion. That makes him richer than many legitimate billionaires. Yet almost no one has seen him in public for years. In Mexico, money buys silence, and Iván has learned how to use that silence as his most powerful weapon. Luxury and legend power is one thing. Image is another. Iván doesn't hide in fear. He hides in plain sight, building a myth around himself. He lives like a celebrity, flaunting gold-plated guns, luxury cars, and designer clothes. His weapons are engraved with his initials. He owns tigers, rare cars, and even a real Batmobile. Every photo that leaks online feeds the legend of El Chapito. To his followers, he represents success, strength, and rebellion. To his enemies, he's a reminder that no one can match the Guzmans. But Iván's real genius lies in something else: music. He pays famous artists to write narco corridos, folk songs that tell his story, glorify his name, and turn his crimes into folklore. One of those songs, titled Chuay La, secretly referenced the Chapitos. It exploded online, gathering hundreds of millions of views. The lyrics turned him into a myth. The views turned him into a brand. And for Iván, that brand is his greatest weapon. It shapes how people see him. It protects his image. It turns a criminal into a cultural icon. A business hidden in plain sight behind the image and music lies an intricate financial empire. Iván has built a web of companies that clean his money and expand his influence. In Mazatlan, investigators trace cartel funds to hotels, resorts, cosmetic lines, and construction firms. Millions flowed through these businesses every month, disguised as legal profits. The laundering process is simple but effective. Dirty money funds construction projects. When those projects generate income through sales or rentals, the profits come out clean. It's the perfect disguise. Criminal money hidden inside the engine of legitimate capitalism. Iván doesn't just control a cartel, he controls a system that feeds itself. Every deal, every investment, every fake company is another layer protecting the man at the top. The ghost of Sinaloa. Despite his fame, Iván Archivaldo Guzmán remains almost invisible. There are only a few confirmed photos, and no one outside his circle knows where he actually lives. Intelligence reports say he moves constantly between fortified ranches and hidden jungle compounds, protected by loyal guards and entire communities that act as his eyes and ears. He rarely uses phones or the internet. Messages are passed through layers of trusted intermediaries, keeping his real location a mystery even to many inside his organization. By the time authorities close in on one safe house, he's already gone. Some believe he stays deep in Sinaloa, surrounded by family and armed protection. Others think he travels through South America or the Caribbean, shielded by politicians and business allies. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear: his power keeps expanding, even as the world tries to hunt him down. The hunt for El Chapito. The United States has a $10 million bounty on Iván's head. He faces federal charges for drug trafficking, conspiracy, and narco-terrorism. And in 2025, the U.S. Treasury officially labeled him a fugitive leader, freezing millions in assets linked to his network. American officials have even discussed classifying the Sinaloa Cartel as a terrorist organization, a move that would allow international forces to target him directly. But catching Iván is easier said than done. He spent his life learning how to vanish, watching his father escape from tunnels, prisons, and full-scale military raids. He knows every trick in the book, and he's added a few of his own. Every failed operation, every empty compound, every moment of silence adds to his legend. To the world, he's one of the most wanted men alive. But to those who know the game, he's something rarer, someone who turned disappearance into an art form.